All aboard. Sorry about yesterday. I woke up with a bad case of dry drunk and was in no condition to really stream at all. Today, well, I haven't gotten up any earlier, but my head is far clearer and ready to actually work today. So that's what we're doing. The final case of Apollo Justice's debut game. We'll finally have the answers for 7 years ago. Let's begin. And that is the whole truth of this case. In order to understand it myself, I had to know the story of these last 7 long years. Nothing happens by chance. All is connected. And now, you stand ready to begin the final chapter of this story. Will the defendant be found guilty or innocent? The decision is yours. Hey, Apollo! Look, on TV! Look! Yeah, I'm kinda busy. Whoa, look at that! He's the last Grimari, alright? Amazing! Apollo, you should be watching this! Ow! What? I was writing about our last case in my journal! Lawyers are supposed to write things in records, Apollo, not journals. And why now? That case was 3 months ago. Hey, it's a long story. I did a lot, you know. I want to vacuum pack the feel of the moment for later. Right now, I'm wowing the crowd by figuring out how La Mirage disappeared. That's right, Uncle Valen did that illusion too. But you're missing him on TV right now. I was just getting to the good part. I suppose I should watch a little TV with her. After all, her father's expecting me to look after her while he's away. What you're now seeing is a rehearsal for the greatest magic show on Earth. Happening right here at our very own Sunshine Coliseum. The Sunshine Coliseum? Hey, that's where the Governor's concert was. Only 3 more days until miracles happen here, right before your unbelieving eyes. The legendary Troupe Grimari is performing for the first time in 7 years. That's going to be great! I'm so there! You and Daddy are coming too. The legendary Grimaris. If Trucy's real father were still alive, he'd be on that stage performing miracles. I've got the tickets and everything. Here's yours, Apollo. Ah, you are here. Working hard or hardly working? Hey, how have you been? Hi there, stranger. Not exactly the kind of greeting I'd want to hear from my own kid. Though he has been gone a long time. How goes it, Trucy? Here, I got a present for you.
Yay! Pudding! I love pudding! Ooh, it's farm fresh. And not just one pudding, but 3 whole cups. I'll have to pace myself.
Well, I'm beat.
That's right, Daddy. You're on a top secret mission. You've got to take it easy with the secrets, you know.
How right you are. So, you still can't tell us what your mission is? Maybe it is time. It has something to do with you, anyway. Huh? With me?
Ooh, maybe you're getting a top secret mission, too. Maybe you can be one of those guys. A spy.
Can't I just be a defense attorney? To be honest, telling you about the mission was my whole reason for coming here today. What? Tell me, you've heard of the jurist system, yes?
The jurist system?
That's right, the new legal system everyone's talking about.
Have you heard of it, Apollo?
Huh? Maybe? Maybe not as many people are talking about it as I thought. The jurist system, huh?
So, Daddy, what's this jurist system thing?
Well, Trucy, do you know what a jury is?
I've heard of it. Isn't that those people who sit in court in those old courtroom dramas? The ones who get to decide if a guy's innocent or guilty? Do you know, Paulo?
Only from TV. It's 12 people chosen from the community, right? Well, they're thinking about reviving that system. They're calling the new system the jurist system.
No more doing whatever you like, Your Honor.
Not quite that harsh. The jurists cooperate with the judge. They help analyze the case from different angles. Ah, and there will be only 6 of them under the current proposal, right?
Wow, you know your stuff, Apollo.
Their findings directly affect the verdict. Hopefully, people will start taking the courts a little more seriously now.
I feel like I'm on some kind of educational TV show. Starring Dr. Wright.
Dr. Wright, his assistant Trucy, and Mascot Apollo, the perfect team. Mascot? Hey! So, what is this secret mission? The jurist system is my mission, more or less. Anyway, keep in mind that new ideas like this system are always risky, Apollo.
Too true. Everyone's got an opinion, and they just talk and nothing gets decided. Kind of like you, Apollo.
I'm not that bad, am I? In any case, we're going to give it a shot. A test, if you will.
I don't like tests.
We'll take a case as a sample and choose 6 jurists. I'll be the one helping with that process, incidentally. Helping how? Well, for one, I'll be chair of the jurist system simulated court committee. The chair constructs the ideal situation, choosing the case, the jurist candidates, even the judge in the courtroom.
Wow, it's like you have a real job.
I was never that good at the piano, to be honest. Once a lawyer, always a lawyer, I guess. The trial's tomorrow, by the way. Don't miss it. The trial simulation, that is.
A simulation, huh? Sounds interesting.
So, what kind of case is the trial simulation about? Well, since it is the first run-through of a new system, I wanted something simple.
Good thinking. No sense wearing yourself out on something too serious.
True. The case is a murder. That's not simple at all!
By simple, did you mean that the defendant is...
Guilty. Yes, most likely. So, good luck, Apollo. With what? With the trial tomorrow. You're defending, of course. Recall that I said it had something to do with you.
Go for it, Apollo. It's just a test case anyway. No sweat.
Yeah, but there's still a verdict to be decided. And a potentially serious sentence. The most serious in a worst-case scenario. Ah! You mean the verdict's for real? That's not a test trial! That's a real trial! All the forms have been filed. There's no turning back now. The trial begins tomorrow at 10 a.m. Hope you can make room in your schedule. Well, why am I only hearing about this now? Ah, yes, there was a change this morning. I picked a new case. Eh? Something that happened last night. Alright, so what case are you going to use? You really want to know, don't you? Of course I do! I mean, I'm going to be defending, aren't I? If all goes well, then yes. Of course, this is just a test. We wanted everyone to start without preconceptions, a blank slate, as it were. There's a difference between having a blank slate and just being totally clueless. Whose dumb idea was that anyway? Well, mine. Committee chair, remember? Oh. Well, if you want to know that badly, I suppose I could give you permission to examine the scene of the crime. Good! That's better. But you can't talk to anyone involved with the case. What? Then how am I supposed to defend? And you let me worry about the details there. Remember, I'm in charge of this trial. All of it. But you don't want it to backfire, do you? Apollo, if I am in charge of the whole trial, that means the entire affair is my responsibility, for good or for bad. Just do what you can. And don't worry, I know what I'm doing. All right. I'd recommend going down to the detention center. Your client's waiting for you. You can ask about the scene there. But you just said I couldn't talk to anyone involved. Oh, you can talk to your client. If you can get her to talk. Well, time's wasting. Hey, Apollo, I know you're all excited about that secret mission. But what about this? The Troop Gramari Grand Magic Show. Huh? Oh, right. The card tricks. They're not card tricks! They're grand illusions, miracles, the apocalypse, heaven and earth will shake. So what? That's 3 whole days from now. It's at Sunshine Coliseum. Let's go today. We can say hi to Uncle Fallon. Have fun. What? I can't go by myself. You know I'm not very outgoing. Right. Why not go with her? Yeah, but what about the secret mission? Oh, don't worry about that. You'll hear all about it tomorrow, regardless. I don't trust that smile. He knows something that he's not telling me. Yippee! Now you can take me to the Coliseum. I suppose it wouldn't kill me to pop over there. Ah, Gramari. That reminds me. What's this, Daddy? Isn't that Silk Hat the Gramari seal? Consider it a birthday present, Trucy. Thanks, it's great. But today isn't my birthday. Good point. What day is it today, Apollo? Huh? Today? I think it's Recycle Your Plastics Day. Then it's a Recycle Your Plastics Day present. Yippee! It's so plastic. No, so it's plastic. I've given up trying to understand them. It's much easier that way. So what is it? Can I open it, Daddy? No. Ooh. Huh? You'll need that envelope someday. Someday soon. Don't open it until then. Well, why didn't you just hold on to it until then? Because that would be the logical thing to do. An envelope about the Gramaris, huh? That's 20 minutes we've been waiting here! 20 minutes! Maybe I should complain? I'm sure that guard has better things to do than stand there pretending he doesn't see us. You know, the minute we get angry, the client will show. It always works that way. Like shouting, "Oh, waiter," and they're standing right behind you? Oh, guard! Is our client going to be much longer? What are you talking about? Haven't you already started the meeting yet? Huh? Eee! Where did you come from? Well, anyway, please have a seat. I'm nervous, Apollo. It's the silence. It builds suspense. Why don't you do something, Trucy? You're a magician, aren't you?
That's right. Okay.
I'm the amazing Mr. Hat.
She passed out.
Miss Magic Underwear might have been a better bet.
That's magic panties, Apollo.
Hi. Well, I'm your defense. I really think it has to be fate, you know? And by fate, I mean destiny. Did you know I'm good with astrology? Tell me, what's your sign?
I can tell you mine if you'd like, Apollo.
No, never mind. I just got carried away there. I seem destined to get difficult clients, it seems. So what's your name? Oh, right, I'm supposed to introduce myself first. I'm Apollo, Apollo Justice.
And I'm Trucy Wright.
I know, this is getting nowhere fast. Hey, I know, maybe you can tell us what happened? I'm your defense attorney, after all. Anything out of the ordinary happened lately?
Well, the other day this tourist from out of town stopped to ask me directions.
Later, Trucy. I feel like I need to ask directions myself here. Well, that was fruitless. Though I think I understand despair a little better now.
You did good, Apollo. Look, she's doing her nails.
What? Are nails more important than defense? Is that it? Let's go, Trucy.
Excuse me. Could you read this?
Sure. I feel like a teenager on a first date. And this is the love letter we passed from desk to desk at school.
Stop looking so wistful and read it, Apollo.
It's a business card with a name and an address. The name is Vera Misham. The address is for Drew's studio. And you're giving me this card because... Well, looks like we're finished here.
I wonder if Drew's studio is the scene of the crime?
Let's go find out. Wow, this looks like a studio.
It's like life imitating art. Or maybe it's the other way around. But the tape on the ground there, it's a bit jarring.
Yeah, looks like we found our crime scene.
Apollo, look at all those paintings.
Hey, don't touch Hey, don't touch those.
It's okay, I'm just looking. Huh? Apollo, look at this one. Looks half finished.
Looks half finished. You can still see the rough sketch underneath.
But that's odd. The rough part doesn't look like the rest of the painting at all.
Yeah, good point. That is odd.
All the paintings have a really different style, too. Ah, I thought I might find you two here. Emma! Long time no see. Oh? Seems like I run into you far too often. I'll bet I know why you're here, too.
You know about the trial simulation tomorrow?
I've heard about it, sure. So, Mr. Wright chose you, huh?
We don't even know what the case is about.
Well, he was killed. The artist who owns the studio, that is. Mr. Drew Misham. Misham. And his daughter was put under arrest.
Yeah, we just saw her at the detention center.
It was funny, though. She seemed more like a victim than the kind of person who could commit murder. You don't say. Not even by poisoning? That's how it was done, you know. Poisoning's a common way to get the job done when the murderer is a woman. Poisoning? Anyway, Mr. Wright told me you'd be coming. Feel free to take a look around. I'll just be over here with my snackoos.
We can't talk to anyone related to the case this time around. Which means we'd better find out as much as we can here at the scene. Or else.
So this Drew Misham was some kind of artist? Apparently, did a lot of illustrations for books, I hear. Had a lot of female fans too, for what it's worth. Oh? Well, I guess this stuff is kind of pretty. Like that oil painting over there, for instance. Yeah. That wasn't one of his illustrations, actually.
Huh? So it was a standalone painting or something? Is that what she means?
He was an odd bird, Misham. Hadn't shown his face to anyone until the end. What do you mean, to anyone? He was always locked up here in the studio, apparently. His only connection to the outside world was through letters he put in that letterbox there.
Letters? Do people still write letters?
What do you mean, Apollo?
I mean, when was the last time you wrote a real letter? Don't most people use email and stuff these days?
Not Mr. Misham. Couldn't stand technology, it seems. He did everything by mail. Maybe he thought that way was more artistic, you know? In any case, the only person besides him allowed in here was his daughter, Vera. Oh, you mean the killer?
The suspect, please.
We took some fingerprints, of course. The only ones found in the room were Mr. Misham's and Vera's, basically. Basically? Actually, last night, Mr. Misham gave an interview to a reporter for the first time. It happened during the interview, apparently. His first interview ever?
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened the night of the murder?
Like I said, last night was the first time someone from the outside came into the studio. I guess mysterious painters who never go outside make for good articles.
And it just so happened that he died the night of his first interview?
At around 9 p.m. every night, Vera always made him a cup of coffee. Last night, he drank his usual coffee and suddenly became violently ill.
And died?
And died? She poisoned him on the night of his interview? Wouldn't the reporters see? He wasn't near Mr. Misham when she brought her father his coffee. He was checking out some equipment in the back of the room. Supposedly, that's why she didn't notice he was there. It was the reporter who called the police, in fact.
Wait, but why is she the suspect? If anyone's suspicious, it's the reporter!
Yet the reporter never got near Mr. Misham's coffee. Even Vera acknowledges that.
Regardless, I want to know more about this reporter. So, this woman, Vera, she's Mr. Misham's daughter, right?
Yep, a real sickly girl ever since she was little. Hardly ever went outside. She did kind of give off a withdrawn sort of aura. She was homeschooled by her father, apparently. It was quite a scene when they took her to the detention center. She was screaming about how she'd die if they took her outside.
That does sound like a scene.
In the end, she agreed to leave if she was allowed her good luck charm for company. Her good luck charm? Apparently she has this charm that magically gives her the courage to go outside.
Why can't I ever get a normal client?
But why would a shut-in daughter kill her own dad? Don't look at me.
So, about the poison, it was found to be in his coffee, right?
No, not precisely. Not precisely? What does that mean?
It means see for yourself, I think.
Hey! There's a painting hidden back here!
Hey, you're right!
What if it's embarrassing somehow and he didn't want anyone to see it?
You certainly seem pleased by the possibility.
Huh, it's so normal.
That's hardly something to get mad about.
Huh? What is it, Apollo?
Well, doesn't this painting look like... Never mind. I'd better get a professional opinion on this. Ah, that's the victim's coffee mug. Aha! So the poison was in here! This is my first time seeing a real poison mug of coffee.
I would hope so.
Poison coffee? Not exactly, actually.
What do you mean?
No traces of poison were found in the coffee. What? You'll have to figure out the rest yourself. I'm officially not on your side after all. Hey, look there! That stain doesn't look so healthy, Apollo. That must be the Blue Mountain stuff we've been hearing about.
Something tells me that even Blue Mountain coffee isn't this blue. No, this stain is probably... better ask Emma. Emma, about this mug. There's a pale blue, residue on the rim.
That? Yes, well, it's just a rumor. But I've heard there's a kind of coffee called Blue Mountain.
I'm pretty sure it isn't actually blue, Emma.
Ah, right. Okay, you got me. That's left over from my testing spray. Forensic science. I knew your hobby was behind this somehow, Emma. It's not a hobby. So, what kind of scientific stuff were you up to? This spray, that's what. It turns blue when it touches poison.
So the poison that killed the victim was on this mug?
That's right. See, it wasn't in the coffee. The killer applied it to the rim of the mug itself. Wow, science is amazing.
It certainly is helpful. Maybe Emma would be willing to help us out a bit more.
You should try buttering her up, Apollo. They say flattery will get you everywhere.
It's certainly worth talking to her a bit more. I bet Emma could help us out here.
Don't forget, flattery will get you everywhere with her, Apollo. Huh? What are you two whispering about?
Well, I was thinking. I mean, what is it we always do when we run into you at a crime scene? What is it we always do scientifically?
Ah, you know me too well. Okay.
Yeah, okay, meaning we can get scientific now?
Oh, I suppose. Just this once. Bring me anything you find suspicious and we'll check it out.
Emma, about this mug. Is the pale blue, residue on the rim?
Okay, you got me. Oh, hold on.
About poison analysis.
I was afraid you were going to ask about that. See, this solution is used to test for atroquinine. Atroquinine, the deadly poison found in the autopsy.
Uh-oh, I know that spark in her eyes. She's getting excited. Best tread lightly.
It's one of the most virulent poisons, but is absorbed into the body astonishingly slowly. It takes at least 15 minutes from the time of ingestion for adverse effects to show. Oh, and guess what? Recent research has shown...
That's fine, really. We don't need to know all the gory details.
I think I get it. You just sprayed this stuff on something you want to test, right? Precisely. You can find even the slightest trace of poison with this. I want to try too, Emma. Pretty please. You don't have to ask twice. I already used it on everything suspicious, of course. Yay! Let's give it a whirl, Apollo.
Ah! What are you doing?
I was just seeing if I got a reaction off of you.
How's this for a reaction? Never do that again. I'm not poisonous.
Tell that to those hapless witnesses on the stand.
Let's just get down to checking for real poisons, shall we? Too bad. No reaction there.
I'm sure Emma checked out all the likely spots. Wait a second.
What is it, Apollo?
Did you spray that little desk over there?
I don't think so. The spray probably can't reach that far, you know?
Let's check it out, just to be sure.
Eee! A reaction, Apollo! Ah! Where? The inside of that cute little frame. Look! Well, would you look at that? Nice going, Trucy. I'm known to work magic.
Never mind that I was the one who found it. Why would the inside of that frame have poison on it? It looks like we found the only other place that was poisoned in any case. Let's take a closer look at this desk here. This envelope has been opened and resealed.
Oh, I know how to do that. You take a pot of boiling water and hold the envelope up to the steam. The glue melts and it opens. Cool, huh?
Whoever did this wasn't so delicate.
You're right. Looks like they just ripped it open and stuck it back together. Huh? The postmark on this letter is from 7 years ago.
Why would someone open a letter, then seal it again? I'd better hang on to this. Emma, about this.
Oh, yes? Why, that's a bright red envelope.
She sure is jumpy.
Someone opened this, didn't they? My lips are sealed.
Your lips are sealed? That's a first. You mean you know what's inside the envelope?
Sure, I read it after all. Ah, you mean you were the one who ripped this open? Ha, please, I would have steamed it open.
But she did sneak a peek at it, apparently.
Know that I have a powerful weapon on my side. Weapon? Yes, the use of tools. Highly specialized tools for information gathering.
Tools I wouldn't mind getting my hands on.
You should try flattering her, Apollo. They say a little praise can open big doors.
Never heard that one, but it's good advice. Let's try talking to her some more. About that envelope we found. I was wondering if you could help us out with that tool you were mentioning.
You want to know about my tool, do you? It's called an X-ray analyzer. X-ray, like the X-rays you get at the dentist? That's right, at least that's what I call it. Huh? It has a real name, but it's much more complicated. The X-ray spectralization... something. How am I supposed to remember all that? So basically, it lets you see inside things, like envelopes. That's right, you're sharp, Trucy. But it's a bit more complicated than that in practice, of course. Actually, to tell the truth, I'm not really sure how it works scientifically. Can I try it out, Emma? Please? Oh, I suppose. Of course, I've already checked out everything suspicious myself. All right, let's give it a spin, Apollo.
Yeah! What are you doing?
Oh, just seeing if I could see through your hair, but it's like lead.
Point that thing at me anymore and it might all fall out.
Then I wouldn't need an X-ray machine to see through it.
Let's just get down to business, shall we?
Right, let's test it on a sample first. It just so happens that I have a lottery ticket here. You set the sample in the device like so.
I don't see anything.
Patience, there's no need to get all antsy. Look at the right side of the screen. That's the layer view of the envelope. Layer view? You've got to set it to display the outside of the envelope. You've got it set to display the outside of the envelope now, see? Actually, it's quicker to just have you give it a try. Turn that dial there with R for me, would you?
That's right. That's how you choose what depth you want to scan. Hey, I got something! See? That's how you read the letters on the ticket inside. Cool, huh? Except, I can't read them. Just turn the dial a little more. What you have to understand is that a sheet of paper isn't really flat at all. When you zoom in that much, you see that paper is like a bunch of hills and valleys. Wow, really? This X-ray device uses a beam with a wavelength of only 0.05 microns. It breaks cards down into thin layers so it can only show what's written on that layer. I'm not entirely following you, but what good is it if you can't read anything? That's why we go on to step 2. Try rubbing the image a bit, if you would. Rubbing? Like going over the image with L while holding A? There, that fixes the image on the screen. Now, turn the dial again, just a little. Good, now you can rub this image to fix it too. Hey, I get it. We just keep doing this until we've got the whole thing. Exactly, not bad. Neat, let's do some more. Okay, let's print this one out. Does this mean I have to buy another one to win? Well, it's Emma's ticket. Let her buy another one. It's okay, there's no need. But see, this is the true hidden power of my weapon. Neat, huh? Now, let's try it out on the real thing, shall we? Okay, let's work this one out. Someone deposited $100,000 into Mr. Misham's account? His paintings must be really valuable. There's another page in there. Care to take a look? You bet I do. If you're going to read someone's mail, you might as well read it all. Here it goes with the second page then. Okay, let's print this one out. So it was a letter about payment for one of his paintings. Why all the secrecy, though? And what? Why was this letter the only one in here? It's 7 years old, right? Maybe it had some special significance to him? Well, Emma? Well, indeed. She knows something she's not telling us. Looks like she's keeping mum about it. So, Emma, I was wondering, what's the story about this reporter that came here for a story the night of the crime? Ah, I'm afraid I can't tell you because he's going to be a witness tomorrow, I hear. I thought so. I'll never forget that face. What was his name? Oh, right. Russell. Russell? He's after a scoop to sell to the papers. So a reporter comes for an interview with a painter. His first interview ever, and that night he's killed. Seems strange to you? Really strange. It does raise a few questions. I'd like to speak with this reporter if I could.
Well, I hear he's on the beat today, too. He said something about covering a magician.
Magician? Well, if it's not Trucy, that leaves only one other person.
It wasn't Valen Gramari by any chance, was it?
Yeah, something like that.
He's got some big show lined up, I hear.
So he's out interviewing Valen Gramari. Looks like I'll be heading out to that Coliseum again sooner than I thought.
Here, I'll give you that reporter's card if you want. Woohoo! This is it, Apollo! The place where magic and dreams converge.
Just a while ago was a place where murder and nightmares converged.
Let's go say hi to Uncle Valen.
And what about the case? Whoa!
Only a performer laughs like that.
The young Miss Trucy! How often I hoped we'd meet again, only to tell myself it was an impossible dream!
Uncle Valen, how's it going? I'm glad to see you too.
Of course you are. Humility is definitely not one of his stronger traits. Well, Miss Trucy, how does the day find you? If you've come to give me flowers, do it after the show, I beg you.
Actually, we came to wish you good luck. And congratulations on your big magic show.
Oh, but it is I who wish to congratulate you. Not everyone is so lucky as to witness miracles such as the ones I shall perform. Yeah, you're amazing. We get the picture. The world will watch in wonderment as Magnifi's illusions are reborn. Here on stage, by my hand.
Everyone's talking about the big magic show. Is it true that the Gramari miracle is back after a 7-year absence?
Miss Trucy, I must apologize. This show and this honor should have been his.
Daddy.
My co-magician in training, Zach Gramari. If that terrible thing hadn't...
It's okay.
Your father was a great magician, Trucy. If he were alive, then I, Valen Gramari, would have been proud to stand up on this stage as his assistant.
Thanks, Uncle Valen. You know, I'm happy you're doing the show. To think we get to see the great Magnifi's illusions again.
She really is looking forward to this, isn't she? My mentor, the magnificent Magnifi Gramari, was a true deity among magicians. A creator god who gave birth to magic and illusions that defied our very imaginations.
I was so little when I last saw one, but I still remember his shows. He did wheelies in a sports car through the air above the audience, and then sped off to outer space faster than the speed of sound.
I'm guessing that memory was a bit embellished. For 7 long years, the world has been waiting for a miracle to match his. As heir to the Gramari Troupe's secrets, it falls to me to provide one. It is my God-given destiny! Yes, you, nameless face who speaks for the nameless masses. How can I help you? If the world was waiting, why did you hold off for 7 long years? It appears the lad is uninformed. Perhaps you have heard of the magic known as law, which governs our land? I have, though I'm not sure it qualifies as magic. The performance of Magnifi's miracle was impossible. A certain law prevented it for 7 years, but no more! 7 years. That phrase sure likes to pop up, doesn't it?
And why was that?
A little matter called performance rights, Miss Trucy.
Can you tell us about these performance rights?
Magnifi's magic relied on an incredibly innovative idea, a trick, if you will. That trick was considered his property, and as such was protected by property laws. Intellectual property, maybe? Magnifi knew this and bequeathed it in his will. To one person.
You mean him?
Yes, Miss Trucy, it was your father. Zach Gramari was the inheritor of the Gramari miracle!
Daddy.
Yet, as you well know, he is gone. He disappeared suddenly 7 years ago. I think I see where the story is going. Once a person is classified missing for a certain period of time, they're considered legally deceased, correct? In all absoluteness, those rolled-up sleeves conceal your competence well, young man. That certain period of time of which you speak is 7 years.
Ah!
Yes, Miss Trucy, though it pains me to say it. This past spring, April to be precise, was the time. Your father was legally declared deceased. In the absence of a formal will, the secrets of our mighty mentor Magnifi passed to me. This was, in fact, stipulated in the will by Magnifi himself.
Is that how it works, Apollo?
Yeah, it's called death in absentia. He's declared missing. Permanently.
Daddy.
I was wondering if you could tell me about this. Aha! Why, that bears the Grammari seal!
Uncle Valen, is something wrong?
Trucy, where did you get this?
Huh? Daddy gave it to me.
Your daddy? My partner Zach Grammari?
No, my other daddy, Phoenix Wright.
Why now? Why would your Lord Daddy? Lord Daddy? That's kind of stretching the whole archaic thing a bit. This signature up on the back, do you recognize it? That belongs to none other than Zach Grammari!
What? Daddy signed this?
Might I be so bold as to open it? I'm sorry, but I can't let you do that. What's in this envelope, I wonder? So, a journalist was here on a story? All eyes in the universe are upon my stage. All pens seek to commit its mysteries to paper.
His name was Brushel.
Brushel.
I think he remembers him.
He doesn't look too happy about it. Brushel, that cloying smell of mint when he smiles, yes.
Could you tell us more about him? What did he want?
A man by that name called on me just now.
Oh, just now?
Just now? Valent's vision is always towards tomorrow. Valent's feet step always forward. That is all.
That's all? Very confusing.
I am to perform a big magic show, yes? I wanted someone to cover it. Yet, he had ears only for that incident.
That incident?
In any case, I requested that the rapacious reporter remove himself. So a painter has died. What of it? It is but a footnote in the footlights compared to the magic of Grammari.
Uncle Valen, do you know where the reporter went?
I recommended he visit that place popular with penalized perpetrators. The detention center? He was a rude individual. Might I see that card? Sure. He would tear apart my respectability. I will tear apart him!
Ooh, here comes Apollo, Uncle Valen's big magic trick.
Is he going to fix the card? Not sure that qualifies as big magic.
What happened to the big magic?
Is it not more miraculous for it to stay ripped? You must have really not liked that journalist. Now, the time has come when I must return to make my prestidigitation preparations. By your leave, Miss Trucy.
Thanks, Uncle Valen.
3 days from now, make ready for a miracle! What do you think that journalist was after? And why did Valen react like that to this envelope?
I think it's time to pay the detention center another visit.
I think I hear what you're saying. We're all doing it for the money. End quote.
No, not at all. No. Looks like someone's already meeting here.
Maybe that reporter?
Hey there! How are you doing? Who might you be?
Sorry, we didn't know someone was already here. I'm Apollo Justice, attorney at law. Talk about a nervous monkey.
You're Justice? You?
You know me?
Do I know you? Of course I know you. Stares down witnesses on stand till they spill beans. End quote.
That's not true! What's he writing?
Are you a reporter by any chance?
Whoa! You're Trucy!
Eh? Am I famous?
Oh yeah! Trucy Wright hates carrying a bag. Puts everything she owns in her panties. End quote.
Eee! That's so not true!
Just hold on to your breeches there. I'll wrap up this interview in a jiffy.
Interview?
So, guard, I think I know what's going on here. Guarding rooms is my life. What else could I possibly need? End quote.
No! How many times do I have to tell you this? Look, I've got work to do. You deal with him.
Did you come here to interview the guard?
Ooh-wee, what a pickle. Accused wouldn't talk. Had to interview someone or go plumb crazy. End quote.
Huh.
I should have guessed.
Where's my manners? Name's Brushel, Spark Brushel. I'm not picky. Journalist just closes eyes, writes. End quote.
What's that nauseatingly strong mint smell every time he grins?
Until you've been interviewed by me, you don't know what thrilling is. Wild romp through crossroads of mayhem, madness. End quote.
I can see that. He's writing something again. Well, if he's a reporter, maybe he knows something.
So, Mr. Brushel, you're a journalist?
Ah, me? Look, let me see. One thing for the record here.
Yes?
I'm the interviewer. You understand, yeah? I'm the one asking the questions here. End quote.
Okay.
For instance, you think a movie director watches movies?
Well, I think he probably does.
Exactly! I knew you'd understand.
Huh? So, the night of the murder, you were at Drew's studio?
Who, me? Look, let me state one thing for the record.
Yes?
I may look calm and collected, but I'm busy, real busy, always on the road. Journalist always buys one-way tickets, never looks back, end quote.
I can understand that philosophy, but...
You want to know the thing about one-way tickets? Once you use them, they're gone. All because you have to give them to the guy at the airport.
True enough. But don't they give normal tickets away too?
Exactly! See, it's the same thing.
What is? So you went to do a story on Drew Misham, and you've never had a story done about him before?
That's right! Look, let me state one thing for the record here.
What?
I'm sure you're going to want to know about my source. What tipped me off to Drew? Why did the interview, in the first place?
Well, yes.
Look, it's like... Oh, I've got it! See, there's this burger joint with fabulous ketchup. You think the burger guy's going to tell me where he got it?
At the supermarket, maybe?
Exactly! See, that's what I'm talking about.
I think I may have actually understood that one.
Well, there's nothing I can talk about, really. Walls have ears, eyes, especially glass walls with speakers, end quote.
Right, guess we'll leave then.
Ah, but since you're here, might as well tell you a tidbit of news I saw, just for the heck of it.
Sure, tell us, just for the heck of it.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I'd seen a movie on a trip and wandered into this burger place with amazing ketchup, when an article in a tabloid caught my eye. Famous oil painting stolen from art dealer's gallery. End quote, I believe it was.
An oil painting?
Happens every day, right? But I thought I'd seen that painting somewhere before. A painting of a giant peach floating down a river.
Someone stole an oil painting of a giant peach.
Journalists can smell scoop better than burgers. End quote.
Well, how'd it go? Find anything out? Actually, there was one thing I wanted to check with you. Look, what's with that scary face you're making? And what's with the I know something but I'm not telling you face you've got going, Emma? This painting came from behind that dresser. Ah, yes. So? It was stolen, no? I was hoping you wouldn't figure that out. Do you think you could tell us a bit about this? I suppose. It's what you think. Drew Misham was a forger. A forger? So, what exactly is a forger? Well, basically it's someone who makes forgeries. Fakes, in other words. Fakes? Copies of an original. Exact copies, so precise you can't tell them apart. Well, why not just photocopy them? The big problem with forgeries is that people try to sell them as the real article. It's a crime, of course. So, Drew Misham was a criminal? I'm afraid so. He received money to create elaborate forgeries. To supplement his work in illustration, I guess. I see. Actually, that's why I brought this here in the first place. What do you mean? When you're trying to determine if a painting is a forgery, the rough sketch underneath can be a valuable clue. So the rough sketch is like practice for the real thing. Like doing a magic trick in front of a mirror before you go on stage. But not in the case of a forgery. Not necessarily, anyway. You know what the finished product is going to look like after all. Oh, yeah, I guess you would. That's why I brought this. I'm going to use it to see what's under the paint of the finished pieces. I get it now. Not that I really needed to go to such lengths, seeing as how one of the paintings was only half finished anyway. Still, it'd be neat to see Mr. Misham's rough sketches. Kinda like what he was drawing when he thought no one was looking. True, that would be interesting, and maybe valuable for our case. You should try buttering her up, Apollo. Flattery will get you everywhere, they say.
Maybe I should ask Emma to help us out. I kind of wanted to see the rough sketch under this painting, and I was wondering if your tool there might do the trick.
Oh, fine, fine. Just this time, though. Let's check it out. Okay, let's print this one out.
What the heck?
Wow, he really blows. The finished painting isn't anything like the rough. Devices like mine didn't exist until recently. He probably thought he could draw with any sort of thing he wanted it to for the rough. What do you mean? Well, in the past, you could only analyze the composition of a rough sketch. Composition? In other words, the traces of charcoal between paint and canvas. So you could tell if there had been a rough sketch. But not with what it looked like.
I think I follow you. So, in essence, it wouldn't matter what was underneath the finished painting.
Some pros would actually paint out a rough sketch entirely. Then do a completely new painting on top of that. So Mr. Mission was drawing whatever he wanted before painting over them? Possibly. Is there a problem with that?
Not particularly, but something about the sketch itself is kind of odd.
You're awfully silent all of a sudden, Apollo.
You think we can check out one of the other paintings?
Well, sure. You like this detection stuff, don't you?
Okay, let's print this one out.
This one too!
What's wrong, Apollo? You look so serious all of a sudden.
You think I could just look at the last of these?
Fine by me. Knock yourself out. Okay, let's print this one out.
What the heck is all this?
I hesitate to ask why you're getting so excited. You sure your device isn't leaking some kind of strange radiation?
Trucy, look at these 3 sketches. Do you notice anything?
Ad break, pause.
Ah! There!
Now you're both white as sheets. What's going on?
These sketches are of the 3 cases I worked on!
What?
The murder in the poker room at the Borscht Bowl Club! The dead man pulling the noodle stand! And then the events that transpired during the Gaviners concert!
What could it mean? How could he have drawn those things? And why?
That's what I want to know!
Wait, is Drew Misham your father?
Give me a break! Does that seem even remotely possible to you? I'd never even heard of any Drew Misham before. I hadn't even seen a picture of him. But there were my cases drawn on his canvas. Every single one of them. It couldn't have been a coincidence. Just who was this Drew Misham? And what did he have to do with me? Good morning.
So, you're Vera, right? I'm Trucy, Trucy Wright. That's right with a W. But not right, right? We're on your side. You can tell us anything, please. Good morning.
She speaks.
Not bad, not bad. But I think you'd do better with a little smile, you know? You're so pretty. You need to sell yourself, you know?
Trucy, let's take it easy for starters.
Thank you for taking my case.
Okay. Well, that's a start, I guess. There she goes with the nail polish again.
That's great, really. It's so cultured. Want to try? Ooh, really?
girls. The victim, Drew Misham, was a forger, and a stolen painting was found in his studio. A life of crime, really, and maybe one that led to his death. Well, we will now, begin the, trial of Vera Misham.
Is the judge okay? His voice is all raspy and he's looking around all nervous-like.
The repercussions of today's trial will most likely be felt for a long time, and may indeed alter our legal system forever.
Today is a test of the jurist system, and the first step toward a new order in our courts. Daddy's secret mission! The jurist will function like a jury. It is hoped their inclusion will help the courts to better reflect the people's will.
Why aren't there any jurists in the courtroom?
3 closed-circuit cameras watch this courtroom at all times. The jurists have access to everything that transpires. Jurists! Judge well and judge cool!
Now see here, Prosecutor Gavin. I was going to say that.
Ah, my apologies, Herr Judge.
Jurists, today, judge today's trial coolly, if you'll be so kind.
The jurists are unbound by the letter of the law. They don't affect the trial with evidence, but by their feelings.
And we're about to find out just what effect they're going to have. Very well, Prosecutor Gavin. The details of the case, if you would.
The victim is the painter, Drew Misham. He was killed in his own studio. His coffee was poisoned. By whom, you ask? By none other than the defendant, Vera Misham.
Objection!
There wasn't any poison in the coffee!
Achtung! Someone has been doing their homework. Indeed, poison was not present in the coffee, but on the mug itself.
The mug? Ah, residue was found on the rim, I see.
The autopsy report describes the manner of our victim's death.
The court accepts this as evidence. According to this report, the victim's death was caused by atroquinine poisoning.
A chemical compound that does not occur naturally. Lethal dosage is a mere 0.002 milligrams. A touch of atroquinine in the body is the touch of the Reaper's scythe.
Very well, Prosecutor Gavin. You may present your witness.
I have for you today a simple man for a simple case. A man who witnessed the murder in its entirety. That journalist, no doubt. The witness will state his name and occupation.
Ah, right. Well, for starters, my name's Spark Brushel. My job is a lone observer of the world.
In other words, a freelance journalist, right?
If you don't mind, I'd like to state something here for the record.
Yes, Mr. Brushel.
I dislike conclusions, specifically the aspect of jumping to conclusions. Preconceptions make Park's sandbox of endless desert waste. End quote.
But you are a journalist. You said so yourself yesterday.
Well, that's true, yes. But you must understand, I stand before you today a man with a dream. I'm offering you my testimony in exchange for exclusive rights to the story. Scoop turns Mr. Brushel into that Mr. Brushel. End quote.
Let's hear your testimony then, shall we?
A simple case, eh, Gavin? For me, the jury is still out.
I visited the studio around 9 that night to do the interview. The first outsider to enter the atelier. Journalistic history made, end quote. His daughter brought us coffee right after we started. And you know what happened next. Star falls, end quote. No one else entered the room besides her the whole time.
That does sound like a simple case. Unless you were the one who poisoned him.
What are you saying, Judge?
Need I remind you the cameras are rolling today? I felt the need to be a bit dramatic. You didn't do it, did you?
Me do anything like that? Come on, that's like newsmaker making the news, end quote. Or even contemporary witch hunt, end quote. I know, wild accusations rock courtroom, end quote.
Rock indeed. Prosecutor Gavin sure looks like he's having fun. I'm so happy for him. Very well, Mr. Justice, your cross-examination, please. What's this about a star falling? Star falls? Huh. It's like an old telegram. Send money. Over.
Zowie, you don't know? That's like the journalism code word. An important personage passes away. A star falls. Get it?
But there's no gravity in space, is there? I wouldn't think stars could fall, really. Does this matter?
Oh boy, this is good stuff, good stuff. How about star breaks? Nah, Lex punch. I know, star dies. Nah, Lex imagination. Of course, you could go with Drew dies. Straight to the point. I like it.
I think we need to hear about something a little more substantial. You say Mr. Misham had the coffee too, but did you actually see him drink the coffee?
Course. He who sees it wins, but he who says it wins bigger, end quote. I live in a man sees dog eat dog and writes about it world. Yet? I guess I can't say I saw him drink it, really. He had one so-called sip, if that. Man puts lips to mug, drinks, end quote.
That poison is quite virulent, I hear.
My stomach did a so-called somersault, since I gulped down that coffee without so much as a second glance at it. Wait, maybe something's there, some kind of so-called trick. Anyone want to venture a guess, for the record?
Does this guy have a pause button? Well, Mr. Justice, did you find that testimony valuable? The victim drank his coffee, then immediately fell over?
Oh, yes, you can go to press with that one.
Your Honor, this is a vital piece of information. Please add it to the testimony. Very well, the witness will add this to his testimony.
Vital, right. He had one sip, if that. The next moment, he was on the floor. Objection!
You know what I have a problem with? A particular property of the poison used, atroquinine. Oh, Prosecutor Gavin was quite clear about the poison. A lethal dosage of 0.002 milligrams paralyzes the central nervous system. If you drank that, even you, Mr. Justice, would be reduced to a quivering pile. Why are you using me as an example? Unfortunately, we weren't told everything. There was a vital omission in Prosecutor Gavin's information. An omission? Atroquinine is as virulent as he says, but death doesn't come upon ingestion, not immediately. That's because atroquinine is slow acting. Slow acting?
What?
According to one forensic scientist, it's one of the most virulent poisons, but is absorbed into the body astonishingly slowly. It takes at least 15 minutes from the time of ingestion for adverse effects to show. If we suppose that the moment Mr. Bisham sipped the coffee was when he sealed his fate, then he would still have had time left to enjoy his last cup of joe. Order! What's the meaning of this? If what the defense says is correct, why, that contradicts the entire testimony we've just heard. Well, Mr. Brushel, anything to say? On the record?
Slow acting. S-L-O-A-C-T. It was virulent, all right. Even then, it had already begun digging its claws into the journalist.
He's working on his scoop.
Objection!
It's Brushel, yeah? Herr Brushel, let's take a trip back down memory lane.
Huh?
Did the victim really die the instant he took a sip? Think it over. This is vital.
You know what I think? I think that was a not-so-subliminal suggestion. End quote.
I admit it does cause a problem if he died when you say he died. I would be forced to say Auf Wiedersehen to my simple case. And you would be forced to say farewell to your article.
Come again?
You can't write a story based on conjecture, can you? And as the case drags on, other reporters will pick up the scent. And you'll be forced to kiss your exclusive scoop goodbye.
Scoop! Scoop! Look, wait! Just wait! A second! Just 1 second!
We're waiting! Out with it!
I think I just recalled a so-called important detail. A revival of recollection, end quote. A story's survival, end quote.
Attorney utterly confused, end quote.
Actually, I did notice something when I visited the studio. I'd heard of poison that takes its sweet time, see?
But not what I've been saying for the last few minutes, apparently. Mr. Brushel, are you saying you noticed something that explains what happened?
You bet I am. The antidote for a poisonous contradiction, end quote, you might say.
Or, I still have no idea what you're talking about, end quote, I might say.
I figured it out, but only after an in-depth interview. See, thanks to my journalism skills, I know who poisoned that coffee.
Order! 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 As far as I can tell, the witness is standing by his testimony. That Mr. Misham died the instant after he drank.
Of course I'm standing by my testimony. And my dream of exclusive rights to this story. Ugh.
I suppose it was too much to hope for. What was? Of course he wouldn't choose a simple case. Not him. Him? Phoenix Wright. Who else? Achtung, Herr Brushel. Report for us if you would. What is it that you noticed? This court is a critical trial of the jurist system. I'm afraid no room for doubt is permissible. You will testify to the court about what you noticed.
When I arrived at the studio, Mr. Misham was at his desk. He seemed to be writing a letter, but he quickly sealed the envelope. I thought nothing of it at the time, of course. Now that I think about it, what if he was writing a suicide note?
A suicide note?
Yes, he had this look on his face. Man's face inscrutable as a quadratic equation, end quote.
Suicide? Poor Mr. Misham. But that means Vera's innocent. Would someone commit suicide in the middle of an interview? Oh. Very well, you may begin your cross-examination. So he put the letter away when he saw you?
Early reporter gets worm, end quote. That's my secret.
I'm not sure I follow.
It's the night of the interview. I arrive 15 minutes ahead of schedule. The handle turns, the door opens, and I barge in.
Are you sure that's okay to do? I mean, isn't that unlawful entry, really?
Mr. Bishop sure seemed to think so. You should have seen him. He crammed his letter into that yellow envelope as fast as he could. I know a secret when I spot one, and that was one.
It does seem significant. Well, Mr. Justice? I wonder. It does have the ring of something important. The defense find this testimony vital, Your Honor. Very well. Please add it to the testimony, then.
Hey, why not? My account comes free of charge. It was a yellow envelope. I heard it was left at the crime scene. Objection!
As it just so happens, there was a single letter in a desk drawer at the scene. In a red envelope!
What?
Prosecutor Gavin! Yes? Was a yellow envelope found at the scene of the crime? Unfortunately, no. But, Hair Forehead, it's easy to mistake the color of an envelope. I guess, but not this envelope. You see, it was postmarked already 7 years ago. Well, Mr. Brushel,
I can explain that. Drew, right? He wanted to get that letter in an envelope, pronto. Get it out of sight of my beady eyes, right? So he grabbed the nearest envelope and crammed away.
And what about the whole red and yellow envelope contradiction, chump? Well, Mr. Justice, have you anything to say to the witness's claim? That night, the victim put a letter he had been writing in a red envelope. That's impossible. Ah, I like your expression. So full of confidence. It's simple, really. As it just so happens, the defense team investigated the contents of this envelope. With, the assistance of a forensic scientist. What? Note that this letter is addressed to Drew Misham.
Oh?
Why would he address a letter to himself? Let alone send a suicide note to himself.
Ah, I've been scooped!
Order, order, order! Excuse me a moment, I got a butt to skin. There. Mr. Brushel, can you explain this to the court?
Oh, my. How could I have forgotten? I suppose this happens to the best of us. Reporter gets old, forgets lots. End quote.
Ow. I'm still waiting for an explanation, Mr. Brushel.
Well, that's the thing, see? After he puts his letter in that envelope, Mr. Misham sat there searching his desk drawer for something.
His desk drawer?
Yes, a stamp, a so-called postage stamp, end quote.
A stamp? Whatever for?
Well, to mail his letter, what else? And then, why yes, I think I saw him put it in his letterbox. Yes, it was a yellow envelope, and he put it in that box.
Well, apparently this yellow letter has nothing to do with this case.
Oh, how I wish it did. Just think if that were a suicide note. What a story! Star writes suicide note in front of reporter. False. End quote.
Ahem! As I was saying, that has nothing to do with this case. That said... Yes, Your Honor? It makes me wonder about the contents of that red envelope. $100,000 is quite a good deal of money. So this was from 7 years ago, yeah?
So, am I finished? Here, I mean? Am I finished here? I was thinking of, going home to start writing.
I hate to state what should be pretty obvious to anyone, but when you catch the scent of a story, you make that, rather unique face.
Ah, come on! Attorney has an active imagination. Little else. End quote.
Even I noticed something, and my eyes aren't what they used to be. You know, I'm starting to understand what all this perceiving stuff is about. Judge has active imagination. End quote. Please continue with your testimony. Tell us about the scent of a story.
Hey, I'm the one asking the questions here, usually. Actually, it took a bit of work to get a thumbs up on the interview. Reporter leverages story, gets his interview, end quote. The story concerned a certain case from 7 years ago. That red envelope probably had something to do with it. Say what you will, but Drew's talent was without compare.
So you threatened to go to press with this story? That's how you got your interview? Blackmail?
Well, yes. I mean, no. It wasn't exactly black. I mean, I'm not...
Something wrong, Mr. Brushel?
Look, this is my story, my tidbit. Journalist info is livelihood, end quote.
I see.
While you have me chatting away in here, what's going on out there? What if some Wally Wordsworth or Sally Scooper gets wind of my story? They could be going to press while I'm going to waste.
The court feels your pain, Mr. Brushel. Mr. Justice, let's pick up the pace. A certain case 7 years ago. Wait, 7 years ago? Sweat much, Mr. Brushel?
Yeah, well, a man can't help his glands, you know.
It's more than that. When Mr. Misham's talent was mentioned, you suddenly began to sweat buckets.
Ah!
You're... I don't know why he spoke at that moment. You're hiding something about his talent.
What? That's ridiculous.
Evidence time. Let's show where Mr. Misham's true talent lay. It just so happens I have evidence showing the talent mentioned in that letter.
Take that!
This painting was found in Mr. Misham's studio. There are two problems with this painting. The first is it wasn't painted by Mr. Misham. The second is that there was another painting in the studio, which looked exactly like this one, except it was only half done. Then we have a letter discussing a payment of $100,000, which suggests a certain business operation. The business of making forgeries!
Ow!
That is all, Your Honor.
Everyone, please, everyone! Can we keep this private, please? This is my story, my scoop!
Forgery. That's a serious crime!
Drew Misham is known as an artist these days, but there were rumors he dabbled in another kind of art until a few years back.
Another art meaning forgery?
Drew Misham was talented, all right. Talented at making precise, detailed fakes. A fact that certain criminal elements were quick to discover.
Criminal elements? What? You can't seriously be talking about...
Exactly. I'm talking about forging evidence. Rumors started circulating 7 years ago.
7 years ago? So, are we to understand that this letter, this payment of $100,000 was for...
Exactly. Forged evidence that's tidy profit, end quote.
Order, order, order! Why, it's like our victim was living a double life. Aha! This is my chance. So the victim had ties to the criminal world, right? He could have had plenty of enemies we know nothing about.
Objection!
This is my first time hearing of this criminal world. We certainly found no criminal connections when we conducted our investigation.
Objection!
But how do you explain all this money? You have to admit there's a possibility of some illegal activity here.
Objection!
But there is no proof tying this letter to our case. Our case was, and remains, simple from the beginning. Only the defendant could have poisoned that mug that night. And you, of course.
Hey, the only thing I poison is my pen when I'm writing reviews.
Mr. Brushel, your testimony to this point has been quite unreliable. It doesn't speak well of your reporting acumen.
What are you talking about? My journalism is rock solid. Journalism so solid you can stand an elephant on it. End quote.
In any case, let's hear a summarized recap of your testimony. If we can ascertain the situation in that studio from the recap, the trial is over.
Apollo! What's he talking about? The cross-examination showed Mr. Brushel didn't have reason or means to poison him. As long as there's no other suspects, then the killer had to be Vera. That's what. This next testimony is our last chance.
Mr. Brushel, your testimony, please.
The only other person in the studio that night was the defendant. It was Vera who poured the coffee. She has admitted as much herself. The only thing that touched the Drew's lips during the interview was that mug. And nothing left that studio after he died. Nothing. Clearly, the only one who could have poisoned him was his daughter.
A nice testimony. Clear, succinct, and without room for doubt.
Aw, shucks. You really think so?
I believe this clarifies the situation that night. Very well, Mr. Justice. You may begin your final cross-examination.
Right. I still have one trump card left to play. And I won't let this trial end until I use it. Not one thing. You're sure?
Yep, sure can be. Well, with one exception.
One exception? What?
Journalist Sparks Brushel does interview, leaves studio. End quote. Come on. It's a joke, get it? Not funny, I know, but still.
Did something leave the studio that night? Why does that sound familiar? Where have I heard something like that before?
Now that we've proven our witness is a comedian of sorts, I'd like to turn to our defense attorney before returning to the testimony. Do you have any idea what, if anything, might have left the studio that night?
I think one thing might very well have left the studio that night, actually. A certain something that has vanished from the crime scene.
By which you mean something other than our witness?
Of course. Don't tell me. Vera Misham? Believe me, any comic relief I may provide is entirely unintentional.
Then let's see what you've got for us, Mr. Justice.
Well, this thing wasn't at the scene of the crime, so I can't show it to you. But I do have evidence that shows how it could have been taken from the scene.
Take that!
This is the only link between that studio and the outside world.
A letterbox?
What did Mr. Brushel just tell us? When he entered the studio on the night of the murder, the victim had just finished writing a letter.
Yeah, I said that, and yeah, it was true.
Furthermore, you went on to tell us that he put the letter in a yellow envelope and put it in the letterbox. Oh! But that very same letterbox was empty. In other words, that night, the yellow envelope disappeared.
Objection!
Ah, yes, intriguing. So an envelope has disappeared from the scene of the crime. Of course, this changes nothing. Huh?
He has a point, Mr. Justice. What we're trying to figure out here is how the poison got into Mr. Misham. Is it really important that this envelope the witness says he saw disappeared?
Well, if it did disappear, then something did leave the studio that night. That seems very important to me. Very well then, the witness will add this to his testimony.
You got it.
I still think this fails to change anything here, Forehead.
I wouldn't be so sure. A letter disappeared from the crime scene that night. This is exactly the opening I've been looking for.
A letter was put in the post from the studio, but I hardly think that matters.
Hold it!
You're sure about that?
Well, to be really, really precise, I was busy gobbling mint candies the whole time.
One of those candies might have been poisoned.
Objection!
Yet, at the time of the autopsy, no fresh fragrance of mint filled the room. And no mint residue was found. It was a long shot anyway. Don't tell me you're still trying to prove this. You think the victim ate, drank, or otherwise ingested something other than coffee?
Well, Mr. Justice, if you have some proof, the possibility is there. I can feel it. Just maybe not prove it. Not yet. And possibility isn't going to cut it. Not now. Mr. Misham ingested that poison via a route other than that coffee. Proof is possible. Here goes nothing.
You do understand what we need, yeah? Proof, Herr Forehead, not possibilities.
Of course. And, Prosecutor Gavin, I hope you understand. I'm ready to give you that proof.
What did you say?
I have proof of the disappearing envelope.
I saw him writing a letter, I did.
Which was picked up by the mailman, I assume. Of course, which means that envelope had a stamp on it. A stamp? Oh! As we all know, stamps come with dried glue on the back. In order to use the glue, you have to wet it by licking the stamp.
Objection!
Feh, no one worth talking to actually licks stamps in this day and age.
Objection!
Even if you wanted to talk to him, you couldn't. He's dead, after all.
Objection!
Okay, so he licked the stamp. But wait! How does that explain the atroquinine on the rim of the coffee mug?
Objection!
If he licked the back of a poisoned stamp, the poison would get on his tongue, yes? What would then happen if he put the coffee mug to his mouth, Those traces on the mug weren't the killer's doing. It was the other way around. What? The coffee mug didn't poison Mr. Misham. Mr. Misham poisoned the coffee mug himself. Order, order, order! But that doesn't, does it? Recall if you would, atroquinine is a slow-acting poison, yes? The poison entered his body when he put the stamp on that envelope. But his time wasn't up until the very moment he touched his lips to that cup of joe. You have something to add, Mr. Brushel? Uh-oh, his nose is picking up another scent.
As I believe I mentioned earlier. Well, that's the thing, see? After he put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Misham sat there searching his desk drawer for something. Yes, a stamp. A so-called postage stamp. End quote. But you know, I don't seem to remember him ever finding one.
Maybe he'd just run out?
Incidentally, we searched the desk drawer at the scene of the crime. There were no stamps, not a single one.
That does pose a problem. How will you prove that the stamp was coated with poison? Actually, I'm glad no other stamps were found. It makes proving the stamp he used was poisoned possible.
Good show, good show. You can't even prove there was a stamp at the scene in the first place.
Well, let's hear what the defense has to say anyway. Where is your evidence that proves the existence of this poison stamp?
Take that!
Well, that certainly is a cute little frame, and by little, I mean really little. It was on the victim's desk, Your Honor. Quite empty, as you can see for yourself. I noticed that too during my inspection. So what? Ah, apparently you weren't as observant as you should have been. You see, when you saw this frame, it was missing something quite important. Missing something? Yes, a pale bluish stain on the inside of the frame. A troquinine residue! What? Why wasn't I told about this? The frame is only 2 inches square. The face of the frame is even smaller. Maybe an inch wide at most. You aren't saying... Oh, but I am. Tell me, what fits in such a small frame? A commemorative stamp, perhaps? Order, order, order! The poison stamp was in this frame? Impossible. But Prosecutor Gavin? Why would he put something like that on his desk? Don't tell me he had it there so he could commit suicide if the mood struck.
You know, can I say something? I had a thought, see?
What, Mr. Russell? And please stop jittering around like that.
The victim was a forger, right? There's a lot of money in that line of work. Forger forges friends, makes enemies too. End quote.
So the poison stamp might have been a murder weapon aimed at him.
Objection!
Oh, rich. That's rich. Leave the ridiculous flights of fancy to the Governor's song lyrics, please. Finally, something we agree on. The stamp was a murder weapon? Nonsense. Murder is a simple business. Who would go to such lengths? No one. Oh, I disagree. Come again? Recall, if you would, the victim's reclusive lifestyle. Drew Misham hid from the world. He avoided meetings. His only contact with the outside world was the mail. The mail! Now, if you wanted to kill someone you couldn't meet but you knew read letters, a stamp would be the perfect weapon! Ridiculous! Where's your proof? I want proof! Show us evidence that this poison stamp was sent to him as a murder weapon. I might not have evidence, per se, but things are finally starting to come together.
But what is it, Apollo? Your fists are trembling.
I think I know what happened. I don't believe it, but I can see it. I think I know how Mr. Misha was killed. Well, fill us in, Mr. Justice. A certain piece of evidence points to the truth, Your Honor. I can show you how someone with the intent to kill sent Mr. Misham the stamp of death. Isn't this the envelope, the one from 7 years ago? Think about the text of the letter again. There were 2 pages in the envelope. This is page 1. And this is page 2. I want to draw your attention to one phrase in particular. Send in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp within 3 days. The enclosed stamp, Your Honor. Oh!
In other words, if I have this straight, the stamp, poison on the stamp, lick, lick, gasp, end quote.
Now, what if he had done exactly as the letter asked?
He would sign the document, put it in the envelope, and put the stamp on it, right? Then he would put it in his letterbox.
15 minutes wouldn't have elapsed between affixing the stamp and mailing the letter. But the clock started ticking, and when the time came, he drew his last breath. And the murder weapon would be taken away from the scene. Quite conveniently, thanks to the postal system. Such a splendid imagination you have, Hair Forehead. Let me confirm one thing with you, if I might. So, this poisoned stamp was inside this envelope from 7 years ago, yeah? Is that what you'd have us believe? Really?
Well, it is a little bit of a stretch, but there's a possibility.
Yes, a very small possibility. How small, I wonder? A poison stamp in this envelope, a stamp that then became the murder weapon. How do you intend to prove this seeming coincidence?
Well...
It was 7 years ago, and we don't even know who sent that letter! And your answer is silence, I see. Very well, I move to... It's not nice to pick on the Fraulein, Clavier. Emma!
Well, like my Christoph Gavin impression? Did I sound like him?
Don't quit your day job. Don't you have a crime scene to be looking after, Fraulein detective?
Someone had to come dig you all out of the mess you're making of this case.
Mess?
You know, none of this would happen if you just trusted in science a little more. You can find out if that stamp was in that envelope easy.
Care to explain yourself, Fraulein detective?
Glare at me all you want, but science is on my side. It's all in the residue, right?
That's right! The poison detection spray! Produce the red envelope at once! You can open it on the authority of the court. Well, would you look at that?
No mistaking it. That's a troquinine residue.
I don't believe it! A murder weapon from the past! Now, 7 years later, it bears its fangs at last!
Objection!
Absolutely outrageous! Tell me why! Why did this murder take place 7 years ago?
Well, there's one possibility. Maybe Mr. Misham figured it out.
Figured what out?
He realized that the person who sent that letter wanted him dead. So he sent his reply with a different stamp.
And put his decisive evidence in a frame. A frame! Oh, you're still here?
Can I make a statement here on the record? I, Spark, Razor Toothbrushel, claim this scoop as mine. Drew Misham killed in cold blood. By sender of 7-year-old letter, end quote. No, maybe something more succinct. Star falls after 7-year delay, end quote.
Order, order, order! I see no room for further argument here. Though I admit this is all coming as quite a shock. To think that the murder weapon reached his mouth after 7 years! Stamp his ticket straight to afterlife! End quote.
Uh-oh, I think the witness is a bad influence on our judge.
I see no need for further debate on this matter. The sender of that letter 7 years ago could hardly have been our defendant.
Apollo! I think we just won!
Very well, this court finds the defendant.
Objection!
Is this the bright future of our legal system? Prosecutor Gavin? A ticket to the afterlife from 7 years ago? Tickets for Gaviner's shows are invalid after 2 weeks. But it doesn't make sense any other way. It boggles my mind that so many people haven't noticed this. There's a fatal contradiction in Hair Forehead's claim. Contradiction? A poisoned stamp was placed in this envelope 7 years ago, whereupon it was framed until now. If that's the case, then why would Drew Misham have done what he did? Emma explained that. He must have realized it was poisoned. Therein lies the rub. 7 years ago, the forger Drew Misham sensed a trap and put the stamp in a frame. I do not debate this. But this begs the question. Why, 7 years later, did he use that stamp on the night of the murder? Surely you don't mean to suggest that Mr. Misham simply forgot? He put the murder weapon in a frame on his desk for 7 years and forgot? You expect us to believe he sprang the trap on himself? Whoa! While I admit this is all quite shocking myself, it does seem highly unlikely that he would fall afoul of a trap that had been sitting on his desk for 7 years. Apollo? I don't think we're winning anymore. I'm glad to see we're all back in the real world now. Welcome back to reality. We've been waiting for you.
Objection!
Okay, then how do you explain the poison stamp that was in this envelope? The poison stamp? Where exactly is this poison stamp again? Have you brought it to court for us? I see no proof that such a thing ever existed.
Objection!
What about the atroquinine residue, huh? Oh, I agree. That does seem to be atroquinine residue. But, Hair Forehead, it's certainly no stamp. Yeah, but even if your Pressure's poison stamp did exist, Drew Misham never would have used it. That is all. I believe we've come to a conclusion. Again. Apollo, were we wrong the whole time? I can't believe it! The poison traces match up. It can't be coincidence. I'd like to bring some closure to this issue sometime this year. Mr. Justice? Yes, Your Honor. Let's review the facts and see where we stand. 7 years ago, Drew Misham received a red envelope. There were traces of the poison atroquinine on the document inside that envelope. A similar trace was also found at the crime scene, on this tiny picture frame. The defense has indicated the possibility of a yellow envelope. An envelope that left the scene of the crime with the poison stamp on it. Yes, but even if this envelope contained a poison stamp, and Drew Misham, knowing this, put it in a frame, he never would have used that stamp. I'm afraid you're right. Which means there is a fatal flaw in the defense's case. I haven't been on the wrong track this whole time, I'm sure of it. The traces of atroquinine, the envelope, the frame, and Drew Misham's mysterious death. They're all connected somehow. Well, Mr. Justice, do you have a conclusion for us? The defense stands by its case, Your Honor. We've seen that the logical outcome of the evidence makes no sense, which means that one of our clues must be a fake. A fake clue? Fascinating. And if we find this fake, your wild fantasies will prove quite reasonable, yeah? The fake clue that's thrown us off the poison's trail is none other than... The victim was a fake clue? I'm afraid I don't understand. I'll explain. We have an envelope, a frame, and a mug linked by poison. That all makes sense. What doesn't make sense is the victim himself.
Objection!
Congratulations, you've completely lost me. So the fake evidence is none other than the master of fake himself, the forger? It makes a good story, I'll give you that. The fake clue. Fakes. Forgeries. Ah! I know that face. That's the I just had an idea face. I don't know if I'm right, but I'm going with it anyway. What if our forger is the fake? Come again? 7 years ago, our forger sniffed a trap and stepped aside. 7 years passed. Now the forger stumbles into that very same trap and dies. Why? That's what I want to know. Because the forger who was killed was a fake. Here we are again. The victim was a fake. One forger smelled the trap, One forger fell into the trap. That's two forgers, and one of them was a fake! Order, order, order! So you're telling us that Drew Misham, the victim, was a fake? Well, if he was the fake, who was the real forger? You'd better not be claiming there was some kind of switcheroo. I'm afraid you're going to have to back up your story. Mr. Justice, show us just who the real Drew Misham was. If Drew Misham wasn't the real forger, there's only one other person it could have been. Understood, Your Honor. Forger Drew Misham was himself a forgery. The real forger was...
Take that!
There can be only one explanation, really. The real identity of the forger known as Drew Misham is none other than his only daughter, Vera Misham. Order, order, order! Mr. Justice, this is going out on a limb, even for you!
I kinda agree. I mean, Vera, a forger?
Let's consider it before you write it off entirely. If you look at the paintings in the studio, one fact becomes quite clear. Forgery had been taking place in that studio for quite some time. The forger wasn't caught in that trap 7 years ago. This can only mean that the one who was caught in the trap wasn't the forger. Well, actually, that does make a certain kind of sense. One more thing. Only 2 sets of fingerprints were found in the forger's studio. Drew Misham's and Vera Misham's. If we know that Drew Misham wasn't the forger, that leaves only one possibility by process of elimination. The forger was Vera Misham. Well... fascinating. Vera Misham? You've been paying attention to the trial so far? Let's just ask her and be done with it, shall we? Who are you? Who is the forger, Drew Misham? Was that an expression of emotion I saw on her face? She's staring holes into Prosecutor Gavin's face. I'm used to being stared at by Frauleins, believe me. Though they usually talk to me, too. Tell us, were you the one who forged those works of art? Yes. So the forger Drew Misham was you? Yes, it was me. What? What? The court was in an uproar, and it wasn't coming down. We had to break for a 10-minute recess. Okay. So where exactly does this leave us, Apollo? Well, the Drew Misham who was killed wasn't Drew Misham the forger, basically. Huh? Well then, who was he? Well, he was actually... doing her nails. So, you really made those forgeries? Yes, for Father. I know it was wrong. Could you tell us how it happened? My father was a painter. I loved painting ever since I was a child. One day, Father saw it in me.
He saw that I had the talent. The talent for making forgeries? How should I say it? It was not only paintings I made. Given the materials, I could make anything.
Anything?
Father was so proud and I so happy. But in the end, I was making those.
Forgeries.
I've never had a good constitution nor personality. I know very little of the world outside my door. Now, because of me...
Exactly what's here. Ah yes, very important bank-related things. Very excusable. And an ad break. Continuing.
Do you know about this red envelope? I remember that envelope. It was some time ago.
So you were already you were already creating your works back then?
I started when I was only 12 years old.
So the one who figured out the stamp was poisoned, that was... Mr. Justice, it's time. To the cart room, please. Right! Out of time.
Wait, Vera! Just one more thing, please. Those 3 paintings in the studio. I painted those as part of my work. Right. See, we checked them out and we saw what was underneath. We saw the rough sketches underneath the 3 finished paintings. I see. Mr. Justice?
Yes?
Father, he knew of you. Of both of you.
Your late father?
He was watching, gathering information. All about the Wright & Co. law offices. But lately, we're not doing just law. Yes, you do tricks, gags to amuse, and play piano. Well, they're not really gags. Yet when Father heard you had resumed the legal business, how pleased he was. Who was Mr. Misham?
How am I supposed to know?
What if he was Daddy's daddy?
Judging from the relative ages involved, I'd say it's highly unlikely. Things are already confusing enough with all these daddies running around. We know that the victim's daughter, Vera, was the forger. What does this mean for the case? Guess we're about to find out. Court is now back in session. Vera seems pretty tense. She's practically chewing her fingernails clean off. Perhaps you could begin by telling us how it all worked. How did you set up this Drew Misham forger persona? There's that stare again. She's drilling more holes into his head.
I know it's hard for you, but hey, he's a handsome guy.
What's hard? Very well, miss, if you would. Did you really make those detestable forgeries?
Perhaps you'd rather answer my question.
Were you the one who painted that painting, the remarkably similar one?
Yes. I painted it, yes. Father praised me quite highly for it.
So, she was the one who made the forgeries. Yet, she did not wish to reveal the truth of their operation. So the victim was a stand-in, a decoy. To the world at large, he was the forger, not her.
I've done a bad thing. I have, haven't I?
Regardless, we need a little more information. About, for instance, this. You have seen this before, yeah? Yes, it was in the desk drawer.
Very well, you may proceed with your testimony. Tell us everything you know about this envelope.
I created things and Father sold them. This envelope came from my first work, after my first work that was other than a painting. Father handled the deal, all of it. I received the stamp that was in that envelope. It was after that job that we moved to the current studio.
There certainly was much of great interest in your testimony.
Not that the witness realizes it.
Very well, please begin the cross-examination.
Right, okay. I need more information about this forger. This Drew Misham.
Hold it!
So these things you were making, you mean paintings identical to other paintings, right?
The closer they were, the happier Father was. I was happy too.
Still, you're quite young now. When did you begin this work?
My first painting sold when I was 12.
Your Honor! She had no idea what she was doing was illegal!
Objection!
Easy there, little attorney. You're not here to defend her for the crime of forgery.
True. Please, tell us more about this envelope. This red envelope that may very well have killed your father.
All right.
Hold it!
By other than a painting, you mean you'd only done paintings up to that point?
Yes. But Father had a realization. He noticed my talent extended to making things other than paintings.
For instance?
For instance, a letter someone had written, or a fingerprint left upon a cup, or a signature on a document, a seal upon a letter.
None of this makes her sound very innocent at all! And the $100,000 promised in this letter was the start. The beginning of a new industry for Drew Misham.
A new industry?
The creation of items to be used in criminal proceedings. Forging evidence, in other words. Uh-oh.
Hold it!
What do you mean, you received it?
Did I do something wrong?
You didn't use that stamp because it was dangerous, correct? Deadly poison on the back! A troquinine!
Objection!
A moment, Herr Forehead. You can't force an answer upon the witness. Now then, perhaps you would tell me, Fraulein Vera, why did you receive this stamp?
Is something wrong?
It was beautiful.
Oh, you mean it was one of those commemorative stamps?
Yes, I think it was.
So, you didn't know about the poison? I guess not. So the trap failed by chance, by mistake, thanks to this commemorative stamp.
Quite the close call.
Hold it!
You mean you moved to where the current Drew studio is?
Yes, we saw very few people there. I began drawing picture books.
This single job had tied them to the criminal underworld. I think Mr. Misham wished to reduce their visibility in the world at large.
When we had to meet someone for some reason, Father posed as the creator of the work.
So that was the real essence of the artist Drew Misham. You did the work and he supplied the face. So, you really didn't know anything, did you? You had no idea how much danger you were in.
Apparently not.
About this commemorative stamp, could you tell us more about it?
It was very pretty, and more than that,
Yes?
it was a picture of people I liked at the time.
This is something new!
Apparently, we've got some cross-examination yet ahead of us.
If you would be so kind as to continue your testimony, Fraulein.
The stamp was a picture of my favorite magicians, so I kept it.
Objection!
Those magicians you liked. Was it this bunch?
Apollo, they're not a bunch!
I see. Still, I have to wonder. Why include a commemorative stamp like that in a business letter? Good question.
Well, pretty stamps are always better, and you can't beat Troop Grimari.
But the whole murder plan was a failure because of it. Ironic, don't you think? Prosecutor Gavin? Prosecutor Gavin? Grimari! What's with Gavin? Might I ask just one question of this witness? In your testimony just now, you stated this was your first work that was other than a painting. Please, tell me, what exactly did you make?
Can I ask why?
No! Answer the question! Now! Prosecutor Gavin? You're usually not the one whose volume concerns me.
Yes, it is unbecoming of me. I apologize. But I must know. Please, Miss Misham, tell me. It was a book. A single page in a book.
A book? Please be more specific.
It was a handwritten book. Like a diary.
No! I don't... No! That's the only time we'll ever see his hand up like that.
What's wrong with Prosecutor Gavin? He looks like he just saw a ghost.
Miss Misham, this book... Was there a picture of a silk hat on the back cover? Yes or no?
How did you know?
Objection!
Prosecutor Gavin, the defendant is answering all of your questions. Stop badgering her. He's told you nothing, has he? Your soiled, sullied mentor. Nothing? Sullied? Who? Phoenix Wright. Who else?
Daddy?
He never told you about the trial 7 years ago? About... about how he came to lose his attorney's badge. It was a certain piece of evidence that decided his fate, you know. A certain diary. On the back, it bore the mark of a silk hat. What?! Phoenix Wright, tossed out of the profession by false evidence. And the forger who made that evidence is this girl standing right in front of me! Vera, you must tell us! The evidence you made was used in a trial 7 years ago. Who asked Drew Misham, you, to forge that evidence? For all of our sakes, who was it? We only met once. You met the client? Well, who was it? It was... What's going on with Vera? She's staring at Prosecutor Gavin's face again. Yes, what? Is there something about me? I remember clearly. I remember who gave me the book, the diary. Who was it? Vera! The devil. Defendant Vera Misham, condition unconscious. Examiner's diagnosis, acute atroquinine poisoning. This ends the recording for the trial of the murder of Drew Misham. Vera Misham was, during the trial, poisoned by an unknown assailant. The dosage was just under the lethal amount, sparing the defendant's life. She is currently in intensive care and is not to be disturbed for any reason. A very simple case at first glance. Until it finally began to show its true colors. The long road to the truth takes us to the record of another trial. In some ways, that was the starting point of it all. And that is where we must go. To find the whole truth. Next week, unless, actually, I may need to check my calendar on that. Let's see now. Yes, next week. My plans for May won't start until Thursday, which means Friday. Oh, I'm going to hate leaving it on a cliffhanger for so long, but it might actually be shorter, depending on how quickly I get through my plan. But for now, a raid must be done. As soon as my screen stops blinking at me. Thank you. Let's see here. Why not? Lum's going on in Danganronpa, so why not go from Ace Attorney to that? All right, there we go. Yeah. All set. Good thing, too. My head was feeling a little off throughout the entire stream. But anyway, that's it for today. We've arrived at our destination. Please watch your step as you disembark. Please follow if you liked. Thanks for watching. Peace be with you, and may the forces of evil be confused on the way to your home. Bye.